Let's go.
Oh,
Good evening,
good
everyone.
evening.
Good evening. So yeah, this I think might do this because it may not go in and out of focus. However, now um the the white balance, the what's the name is off. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. There's nobody on here right now, so I can do that real quick.
Do what?
Try to fix the buzz. It's too much buzzing in the background.
Oh, I don't hear anything.
All right. Let's see if that works. So, good evening. What's happening? This is have a conversation after dark. If this is your first time hanging out with us on a Saturday night, we are going to be getting back in a rhythm of doing these things. It is a conversation. It is an after dark conversation, meaning that anything is fair game. Almost.
Almost anything goes. Remember
Um.
that?
Yep. Almost
Almost anything
anything
goes.
goes in terms of what we're going to what we talk about during this time. And if you read the description, we're not going to be on here long, but if you read the description asked the question: Is it really that important? The it that we're talking about is sexual intimacy. Is sex really that important? But before we get into that question, there's some other things that we want to talk about. So it also said in the description to put your kids to bed or to put them in the other room because that's what we're talking about tonight, right? So couple questions we're going to ask. Would love to get your opinion. Do me a favor if you're watching this, share it because here's the thing. it's really it's only as good as whatever your opinion is, right? I mean, we can share what our opinion is on the topic, but having the dialogue is really what is very important. Now, here's the thing. It's Mother's Day weekend, so not sure how many people are really like surfing social media right now at 10 o'clock at night Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday night. So that could be, that's maybe reflected in the numbers. However, I guess we'll sit here and talk for a little bit.
Okay.
And if somebody shows up, and lends their opinion, then that's fine. So before we get into that question, is it, and the it we're talking about is sex. Is sex really that important? Before we get into that topic, there's something else I that you brought to my attention that I thought was really interesting. And I would really, I don't know, maybe you and we didn't really hash it out. So maybe you and I can hash it out. And then anybody who's listening, they can just kind of jump in and give their 2 cents. There's a university where is that, in Utah?
I don't know where it is. Brigham Young.
Where's Brigham Young University? I think it's in Utah.
Yeah.
So there's a study that they did that says that having multiple sexual partners before marriage is linked to lower marital relationship quality and higher divorce rates.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Here's the thing. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, obviously, you can say, well, you can't argue with research and you can't argue with a study, but is that true? So I'm going to throw that question out for those who might be watching or for those who may watch the replay. The study that Brigham Young did said that having multiple sexual partners before marriage is linked to lower marital relationship quality and higher divorce rates. Now, what I will say is that it does have an effect on your marriage. I sincerely believe that. Is it, man, marital relationship quality? I don't know.
I don't know either. I would like to see what their reasoning is for thinking that, because then maybe I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that.
And the article didn't really say that.
It didn't. The article just really said what the study showed.
Yeah.
But it didn't really say why they came to that conclusion.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and we don't want nobody. We don't want you to put yourself on the spot, right? That I can't really expect to throw this out to the folk that are watching for them to say whether they agree or disagree.
What's up, Camila?
But if you do agree, or if you do disagree, that's what's up. Yeah. So Camila, what we're doing, the question that I'm really going to throw out there is sex really that important? But before we dig into that question, we came across this study that Brigham Young did that says that having multiple sexual partners before marriage is linked to lower marital relationship quality and higher divorce rates. Now, it's going to sound ridiculous for me to say that I disagree with research, but I kind of disagree with it.
But you kind of disagree. I would just like to know, I don't know, like why do they say that? Why does the study show that?
I'd also like to, and it doesn't show that. It also doesn't say who they surveyed.
True.
I'd love to hear what's the demographic of the people they surveyed? What's the age range of the people they surveyed?
Right.
Because then that may give some clarifying context to it. But just at face value, that statement.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't agree with it. Here is, and again, I don't expect anybody that's listening to do this, but I will put myself out there. Here's why I don't agree with it. My marital relationship quality is great.
Yeah, I agree.
And we are not divorced.
Agree. So
that's just, without me actually coming out and saying it.
You just did.
Anyway,
maybe
whatever.
We're in the minority as far as that goes.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's a question. The question is sex really that important? And I'm talking about in the confines of marriage. Is it really that important?
Mhm.
So there are people that fall on different sides of this
Right.
issue.
Yeah.
There are people who say that it is not that important. There are people on the other side of the spectrum say that it is critical to your marital success. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe absolutely 100%
Okay.
that it's critical. It's
Okay.
needed.
Hold that thought for a second. Camilla said, I think part of it may be baggage that people take into their marriage,
Marriage
which
which
leads to
leads to
divorce.
divorce.
I could see that. I could see that.
I could
And
see that too,
mhm.
but don't people that do not have premarital sex have baggage also?
Speaking of that, the article also said that people who wait have better marital relationship quality. And I don't agree with that either.
Mm.
I don't agree with that either. So not only did it say that people who have multiple sexual partners have lower marital quality, but it said that people who wait have higher marital quality. And I don't believe that
Mm.
because there are people who wait who also get divorced. What's the reason?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it really linked to premarital sex? Now, the baggage may be a byproduct of multiple partners,
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
but as with all baggage, there's more than one item in it.
Right. That's why I said people that do not have premarital sex still have, well, not all the time, but can have baggage still
Mhm.
of other kinds.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some digging into that because I would really love to. I would really, and they gave no context whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
So I would love to do. I'm going to do some digging and see what it says about that. But here's a question: in marriage, is sex really that important?
Well, I think it is because I'm gonna put myself out there. When I, not solely for this reason, but I think
Mhm.
it's important, obviously, because it's a gift from God.
Mhm.
If you're a Christian, you believe that it's a gift from God. It's a way for you to be the closest that you can ever be to your spouse. And it it just does something for you spiritually, even emotionally,
Mhm.
and all of that other stuff. And for me, I know that when I am intentional about it, um even if I have a lot on my mind or a lot going on, if I'm intentional about it and I do and we are intimate, I feel so much better
Mhm.
afterwards.
Mhm.
Even if initially I was like, even if initially I'm like, I'm just gonna I'm not in the right frame of mind, but I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
And I don't mean that like, oh, here we go. Not
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I always feel better afterwards.
Yeah, and that keeps people from having a cranky marriage, like
Right.
like Camilla said, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing: why do you feel like? Because again, like we said, there are different schools of thought
Mhm.
around this. Um, and the follow up question, we're not going to answer it right this second, but the follow up question for those of you who are listening, the first question is sex in marriage really that important?
Mhm.
The follow up question is going to be the age old debate of how much is not enough, right? We'll get to that in a second.
Mm.
But the there are different schools of thought. There are schools of thought where it is not that important, right?
Right.
It is a what's the word that I heard somebody use? It complements the marriage,
Okay. Mhm.
but it's not necessarily that important. If it's not there, the marriage is not going to suffer.
It's not like a make or break
Right.
type thing for
But
some
if
people.
it is there, it complements.
Mhm.
Now, that's one school of thought on one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, there are those that say that your marriage cannot survive without it.
Right.
That's
It can.
that's
Technically
extreme.
it can.
Technically, it can. That's
Mhm.
extreme. I wouldn't go out on a limb and say that your marriage is doomed if you're not having sex. I will say this though,
The quality of your relationship
is in
might,
question.
yeah, the quality for those, not for those people that are like it complements our relationship,
Mhm.
but for those people that know that it's important and they probably should be having sex more than they do,
Mhm.
but they don't really do anything about that knowledge. I think that it the quality of their relationship
Mhm.
um suffers.
I listen, I would
I
dare
don't
say
know.
the quality of their relationship is in question
Hmm.
if they don't feel like it's important.
Right.
Now, this is not about teaching or giving advice, but I
Right.
will say this. Um, I lost my train of thought, but essentially, it's vital, I believe,
Hmm.
to let me put it this way. I'm gonna use something that you always say. You always say it is absolutely the closest that we can get.
Right. Yeah.
We can't get any more one than that.
Yep.
And if the goal is oneness,
Hmm.
why would you leave out a component of accomplishing that goal?
Right. Agree.
So I believe it's important.
Mhm.
However, because I know that everybody doesn't agree with us, which is the reason why I brought the question to the folk that are watching. And there's folk that are watching. Please feel free to jump in the comments. Don't worry. We can talk about sex. It's okay. Like, don't say what you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Um, for those who say that it is not important, and the reason why I'm saying this, it's not necessarily for shock value or to be controversial. I really want to hear what people have to say. For those who say that sex is not important,
Mhm.
I would be willing to bet money that if they allowed us to pull back the curtains of their marriage,
Mhm.
somebody's dissatisfied, somebody's unhappy.
Do you think so?
Yep.
If both of them are saying that it's not important, do you think that one of them is lying? Are you saying?
I, yes.
Really?
Yes, and I know that's heavy. What I was going to try to clean up and say one of them is maybe overcompensating for the other, or one of them has decided that okay, this it is what it is, so let me just figure out how to live with it.
Hmm. I could see that, but I don't know. I feel like if they're both saying it's not important, oh, I mean, I guess one of them could be either lying that it is more important to them than they are letting on, or they don't want to make their spouse feel bad, or they don't want to make waves,
Hmm.
so to speak, or create any type of conflict. And so they're like, yeah, it's not important to me either.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting.
Hmm.
So, and I believe that and here's the other side of that. Well, let me get Camilla's comment real quick. What if the two? What if two
Too
low
low
libidos are married?
libido. Yeah,
Mm,
exactly.
okay,
Yep.
I
Right.
I accept
And
that.
that's why I'm saying they may not necessarily be lying,
I can accept that. I
you
can
know,
accept that. There could be two low libido individuals who are married to each other. That's true.
which
That's a
I've
good point.
never heard of before, but I'm sure that that can be the
I'm
case.
sure that's the case. I've never
But
heard of it either, but I'm sure that's
but
the
can
case.
you imagine? Wow.
But here's the thing now. So now that requires them
To be more intentional.
in other areas.
Yes.
That brings up a totally different question. That's a great comment, which is going to
Mhm.
derail this where we were going in just a little bit, which is fine. I'm not saying it in a bad way. What there are some specific, in my opinion, uh benefits of sexual activity. What replaces that?
Right. Mm. So when
How
you
do where do you get those benefits? So it's like, so I'll give you a great example, right? There are people who don't eat meat and they say, "Oh, we get our stuff from legumes
protein,
and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
What are you getting? What are you getting that produces? I mean, there's other things that produce serotonin and oxytocin, and we know that. But there's something very different about the sexual experience
Right. There
and
is.
what it adds to your marriage. Where else do you get that?
Right. So when you said, where else do you get that? It made me think of this. So when we say sexual experience,
Mhm.
are we talking about intercourse?
Good point.
You
Good
know what I'm
question.
saying?
That's a good
Because if
question.
not, then you could be getting it elsewhere. Like, I don't know. Um, However, with my hands
Mhm.
on you or your hands on me,
Mhm.
or,
Oral.
oral,
Yeah.
you
That's
know
a
what
good.
I'm saying?
That's a
So,
good point. That's a good point.
but typically though, people that have low libido, I would think that they're not even interested in any of that. Would you think?
Oh man, I hope that's not the case.
I don't
So,
know.
here, let me get I'm loving that Camilla is rocking with us. Um Also the way the church teaches sex.
Causes
Indeed.
people to push it to the background.
Indeed.
100%.
Yes, indeed.
100%.
That high closeness where I'm trying to, yeah, so and so
Yeah.
this is let me even
Yes, Camilla.
because you defined like what sexual activity.
Hmm.
Let me even hone it in even a little bit more. There, how do you reproduce what you experience
Hmm.
and what you feel with release, with
Hmm.
orgasm? Where do you get that from?
You can't get it from any. There is nothing else.
So the marriage is missing something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would think. Do you think?
I do. I'm trying, yeah, I think so because I don't know of any. You can't tell me that there's this joke, there's jokes all the time. Oh, this cake is better than sex and this thing is better than sex, and we joke about that.
Hmm.
But there's nothing that replaces that.
True.
You can't tell me, oh, I go run in the park and I feel the wind breeze through my hair and it's the same. No, it
Who
ain't.
says
It ain't.
that?
It ain't. It ain't. It ain't. Don't even play yourself. It ain't. It ain't the same. You can't convince me of that. You can't. And I mean, I made that up, but there's
Yeah.
people who do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I read a good book and I took a bath and I just felt no, 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 stop that. Stop it. Stop it.
Mhm. Uh,
Stop
I think
it.
what they mean is not that it replaces it as far as making them feel good. Well, maybe so, because when you work out and you exercise, it does release endorphins.
Okay.
So, but I think what they mean when they say that is either yes, endorphins are released, or it takes their mind off of it. It redirects their thought process.
Mhm, mhm.
So,
Uh, Terrell, I hope I said that. If I didn't, please forgive me. Said a toy, but here's the thing: a
but
toy,
a toy will
it's still
give
going
you
to
the
give you that
same
release,
results, the
right?
release. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so you're still gonna have that same release
Right.
with a toy, but for the people who say that it is not important,
Right.
or for like Camilla added, which is a great point, for the low libido couple,
Correct.
what are they using? Because here's the thing, no matter what, in order for your marriage to survive, you have to build and maintain intimacy. And I'm not just saying sexual intimacy, I'm just saying overall, you have to create a holistic, intimate bond.
But if you have a low libido couple, both of them
Mhm.
have a low libido, then they're not looking for any type of release, right? If they're like, take it or leave it, then they don't
I,
care. They
I,
don't
I
need a
guess.
release.
I don't understand how that's possible, but yeah, I guess.
But
Yeah, but it
it
doesn't
doesn't
bring you
bring you
closer.
closer
And
to your
and
partner.
I'm assuming you're talking about toys. They don't bring you closer to your partner. That's what
True.
I'm assuming.
True, true,
So
true.
yes, I agree with that. You will get the release, but there's still a component of that that's missing, right? Man, that's good, Camilla. Man,
Complete
you hitting us with it.
intimacy.
So the sexual experience, you say all the time, is the closest that you can get.
Hmm.
There's no there. It's no other.
It don't get no
It don't
closer.
get no. It don't get no more being one than that,
Right.
right? There is a bond that takes place, and we know this, that psychologically, which is if we went back to the whole premarital sex thing, which is maybe why it messes up
Hmm.
marriages, is because when you are sexually intimate with somebody, there is a psychological bonding that takes place.
Yes.
How do you get that in marriage if you're not having sex?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And here's the thing, I would love to, and this is no judgment at all. I would absolutely, I would just incredibly enjoy having a conversation with a couple where both of them have low libido, because I would
Yeah, me
love to know
too.
what are they doing that supplements that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So listen, we're not here
But
to.
maybe they're not even looking for supplementation. Maybe they're just like, we have low libido. That's it. Let's carry on with our lives in every other area of our lives.
So do you think that it automatically causes them to overcompensate? So think about a person who's blind. They hear better.
Mm-hmm.
Their sense of touch is more sensitive. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think that that happens? So if there's no sex happening in your marriage, are you automatically and organically just like the emotional intimacy, the spiritual intimacy, the experiential intimacy is just through the roof?
Maybe not. Maybe not, because typically, if it's low libido, well, not always, that's not true. Sometimes it's a medical condition as to why the libido is low.
Mhm.
But
Camille said maybe a trauma bond. Yeah,
yeah,
true.
or it could be just, I don't know, some type of therapy is needed, like trauma. Maybe there
Mhm.
was trauma and that caused the low libido. So I don't know, what I was about to say doesn't make sense when
No,
I
it
think about it
it
like that.
it, it does. It does.
No, because I was gonna say, um, lost my train of thought. Carry on. I forgot what I was gonna say.
I don't know. Now, obviously, again, this conversation that we have on Saturday nights is not about us leaving you with an opinion or trying to identify or determine a right or wrong. It's not. We just had these conversations because we want to know what people think. Truth be told, I, even though I know that this exists, even though I know that there's people with low libidos, and there are people who may say, "Hey, listen, my relationship is thriving without sex." I can't. It's gonna be. You got to work hard to convince me that
Yeah, but
what you get from the sexual experience can be supplemented elsewhere.
maybe they're not looking for supplementation.
So, is their marital experience incomplete?
Maybe to me and you, but maybe not to them.
So they feel it's possible that they feel like they could be thriving in that environment where there is no sex at all.
I say, as long as the low libido is not caused by an issue. Well, I guess low libido would be caused by an issue, right?
Yeah, but it might be something, medical as opposed to trauma. It might not be like
Low
I
libido
don't want to
could
have sex
also
because of
be.
my past experiences or something like that.
That's what I was gonna say. No,
Well, I'm saying it could be, but
because I
it
think
could be something medical. Like there are people who might be sick or like they have a medical condition that
absolutely.
actually causes their lower libido. So, or like for example, perimenopause, right? Lowers your
Yeah.
libido, right?
Yes.
Um, but here's the thing. Take the perimenopause thing, for example. Perimenopause may lower your libido,
Hmm.
but it doesn't make you feel like you can survive in this relationship without sex.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I guess maybe it depends on what the cause is. Like, if something from your past, some type of baggage or something,
Hmm.
that could cause you to have a low libido, especially if you're not getting that addressed with therapy or whatever.
I can see
Then
that.
that could possibly cause a low libido, I would imagine.
It could. I don't know. Here's my thing. My thing is, and then we'll go to the next question and then we'll get out of here. My thing is, I just don't, and I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying I don't understand how you can supplement that experience in other places. There's only two things you can do. Either you have that experience or you don't have that experience. And each one of them come with their certain set of circumstances and
Mm,
and consequences, if you
the
will, for lack of a
results.
better word,
Hmm.
results, right? Um Camilla said, you think if both people don't care, then they think their marriage is A1 without sex.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrell, not all, but
But age
age
comes
comes
into
into
play.
play when the desire is not there. Okay, I'm 60, and my desire is not as strong,
Mm-hmm.
so the intimacy comes into play with the love language. Okay, so that's the supplement. Like the man making sure I'm okay, like I'm cooking him a meal, making sure he goes to the doctor, and making sure his health is right. That's a
That's a
form of
form of
intimacy.
intimacy.
So here's the thing. I agree with you. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
just playing devil's advocate right now. So hear me out. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be clear about that. Let's put that disclaimer out there. Does that replace, however, what you would have gotten from the sexual experience? Can you say that you feel the same?
Good question.
That's
Oh,
my
I
question.
got a chill.
Because what you just said, Terrell, is 1,000% spot on. Because we should be building intimacy holistically, which means you have to build in other areas, right? So you got to speak the love language. You got to make sure they're okay. You got to, take caring for them and being nurturing and all of those things. That is 1,000% intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
My question would be now, playing devil's advocate, do you feel the same doing that? So when I wash the dishes for you, because your love language is acts of service, does it give me the same feeling as when I have sex?
But in Terrell, I hope I'm saying your name
Yeah,
right.
please correct us if we're butchering your name. We do not want to do that.
In Terrell's case, because of, just like with me, because of for me it's perimenopause, Terrell said age.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, maybe a person like me or like Terrell is um not missing the same that experience
Okay.
and is satisfied with the other types of holistic intimacy.
Mm. That's a possibility.
I don't know.
Now I'm not 60 yet. I'm close, but I'm not 60 yet. I'm not close. I'm 51. Is that close? That's close. That's
Mm,
close enough.
Whatever.
I'm in the parking lot. Um, uh, I don't know. Listen. That could be. It could be that you get to a point in your relationship you where your needs change
Right.
and you don't need that level
Right.
of release
That's what I'm
or
saying.
what comes from it.
Yeah.
So so we can say so we give and I'm messing. I just hear me. I don't take this to heart. So we're going to give the 60-year-olds and older a pass. What about the 30-year-old that's like, I don't need to have sex?
I think, just my opinion, if a 30-year-old says that, it's not because they don't want to.
Hmm.
I think it's because of something. There's a reason
Okay.
why. I think because
Okay.
30 years old, that's kind of young.
Yeah.
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 So
So Terrell said, yeah, yep. Camilla said, okay, so with age, that makes sense. Yes,
right.
that makes sense for me too.
Makes
Right.
sense for me too.
That makes sense for me too. Because think about the folk who've been married 50, 60, 70 years,
Mhm.
60 years, right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying they not having sex, but they ain't really like jackrabbiting. You know what I mean? But those folk
Never
have
know.
well, yeah, you never know. You're right. There's some who are, but those folk have created the foundation early on
Mhm.
that helps sustain them in this season.
Or could it be that they didn't create the foundation early on? They stuck with their spouse anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're at the point where, I'm 50, 60 years in now. It's whatever. We here now.
Then that goes back to what I said, where something is missing,
Yeah, but the
and they just they
age
and
there.
they learn to live with it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that your marriage can survive without sex, or that it is, that you don't need to have it. That means that somebody was dissatisfied and somebody felt some kind of way, And then at some point they were like, you know what? It is what it is. We just gonna rock it out,
And I mean, at that point,
which I ain't doing.
34, what, you gonna leave me after 40 years?
No, but I'm just saying, I'm not. We gonna work something out. We're gonna go to therapy. We're gonna do something, because I'm not just gonna be like, oh, it is what it is. We here now.
Yeah, but I mean, after 40 years, what?
No.
You
We're
gonna
not
still-
doing it.
Uh.
We're not doing it.
I was gonna say something, but never mind.
We're not doing it. We're gonna figure something out. We're gonna go somewhere for some level of assistance, because there's never gonna be a time where I'm like, oh, it just is what it is. We here now.
Assisted living. That's what we gonna be doing.
Yeah, they make pills. They do all kind of stuff, man.
Oh,
If you really
gosh.
want to get it in, you can get it in. Yeah, you can. You can. I need to know the culture of sex. They're
Right,
raised.
because 30.
Right.
Right.
Exactly,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying. 30.
Anthony Murray, what's good, bro? Yeah.
Hi,
so
Mr.
that's
Murray.
the thing. So let's switch real quick, because we promised we weren't gonna be on here long. It's been a long day for us.
Mhm.
Here's the next question. And I'm kind of leaving it unresolved on purpose, just because again, we're not trying to force any kind of agenda. We're not even trying to tell you. I can tell you what I think, but that doesn't mean that's what you got to think. At least at this stage in the life that I'm in, and it's kind of been consistent throughout all the stages, is that I don't see where a marriage is 100%. It's at its optimal state if sex is not a part of it.
Mhm.
Obviously,
agree.
we can bring out all the issues of, people who've been married, for 50 years. Obviously we know there's nuances there.
Mhm.
I'm talking about right now at the stage that I'm at. And for those who are younger than I am, we're in our 50s. For those who are younger than we are, I just don't see the argument. I don't understand that argument at all.
Mhm. I agree.
Here's the next question though. For those who do feel like it's important, how much is not enough? That's an age-old question.
Say that again for those.
For those who do feel like sex is vital to your marriage, how much is not enough?
That's I think that's just relative to every person. Every person's different.
It is?
I think so.
So I follow a sex therapist who said that if you are having sex once a week, that you are in a sexless marriage.
I mean,
would you agree with that?
No.
Well, first of all, that's
almost like a play on words.
Yeah, because if you're having sex, you're not in a sexless marriage.
Right.
So let's just be clear. We understand that. But essentially what she's saying is that that's not enough.
I understand that, but I think that just, I don't think there's no right or wrong, or there's any specific amount that would make it right or wrong, in my opinion. I don't.
Do you really not think there's a right or wrong?
No, I don't, because every couple is relative.
So let me give you an example. Once a month.
I mean, for me that would not work, but I feel like every couple is that's on them.
So
you can't tell another couple you're not having sex enough just because we don't feel like that's enough. You can't say that.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
I mean, you're right, but I was thinking in my mind, yes, I can. But Camilla said, I think that differs in the stage of your life. Your marriage is in, like, after a baby. Yeah.
Definitely,
I
for
agree
sure.
with that. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because we experience that. We're experiencing that. So we get that. That's
sure.
100%. 100%. Back to your question. Is it important?
Is it important to have sex? I don't now, but I don't know, maybe. But let me put this out here. My father is 97 and he's still living. His legs are amputated, and a lot of times he urinates in his urinal. I have my son who is 30 to go in there sometime and empty it, and he said he walked in on his granddaddy relieving himself. Hey. I said, well, granddaddy might have the secret to long life, and it's simply by relieving yourself. He would kill me if I put this out there, because
so interestingly enough, I'm actually glad you said that, because I also have read that there are, this is my word, this is not the word they use, but there are mental health benefits to orgasm,
I think I believe that.
and that there are physical benefits, and that there are psychological, still mental,
Mhm.
that there are physical benefits, and that there are emotional benefits to uh
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Pops is getting it in, and he
Mhm.
gonna live till he about 130. So he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. So hard question. That is a hard question, bro. How,
Mhm.
and here's the thing. Honestly, again, it's not about giving advice, right? It's not about giving advice. Um, however, and he's still, wow, that's what's up.
He still fill
Fill
out
out his
his
own
own
taxes,
taxes.
man. That's that, man.
Wonderful.
That's dope, man. 97.
Yeah.
I want to live long like that. That's dope. Um, Here's the thing. Again, it's not about giving advice or giving our agenda. Yes, you cannot tell somebody. Um, you're right, Anthony Murray. Relieve stress. Indeed,
Mhm.
it does. It is a stress reliever, and that's not that's not uh speculation. Like, that's a fact.
Mm.
Like, it is a stress reliever. Like, that's research has been done. That is a stress. It is a stress reliever. So here's the thing. You can't tell anybody. I agree with you. You can't tell anybody how much is not enough.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are having sex once a month, again, I am willing to bet all the money I have that if we peel back the layers, there is something else going on. You cannot tell me that your marriage is blissful and you only having sex once a month, if sex is important to your marriage.
I mean, I agree with that.
Think,
But
okay.
if that is what you've I mean, how did you get there? Have you agreed upon that?
Mm-mm.
Or be
Don't nobody, don't nobody agree to that. You
What?
can't.
No,
What?
you're thinking of yourself.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Maybe I am.
You're
Please,
thinking of yourself.
please direct me to the person who agreed to that. That we was gonna have sex once a month. Once a month?
You're
Mm-mm.
thinking of yourself.
Nah.
Oh,
Think of all, and I'm think of all the experiences that we've had and the people that we've talked to.
mhm.
Generally, when sexual intimacy is in a state of uh distress as it relates to consistency and frequency,
Mhm.
there has always been an underlying issue that speaks to the mismanagement of their commitment, or the 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 fact that their marriage is unhealthy every time.
Yeah. But what if you've gotten to the point where you're just like, all right, well, yeah, no. I agree.
Yeah. So that's us. Again, that's us. A lot of that we base on, yes, I'll be honest, a lot of that we base on our experience, and we base on the individual, because we do this. We talk to couples for a living,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
based on that as well, like,
Yeah.
if you're having sex, if sex is important to your marriage, let's put it under the umbrella of, yes, it's important for a
Mhm.
second. If it's important and you only having sex once a month, something is wrong in your relationship.
Yeah.
That's just me.
What if something is wrong, but you're just like, yes, something is wrong. So
Hmm.
let's just at least make it once a month. What if
That
you're like,
so that
I don't feel like to go to therapy or anything.
mhm.
Something is wrong, but let's just agree to once a month. You don't think people do that?
People probably do that, but then what are you saying? You're saying we're going to live with the dysfunction of our relationship?
Some people do. A lot of people do. What was it? What was that comment?
Once a month, that very little, but that's on that couple or individual need of that single person. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like we're kind of playing devil's advocate here, but that you're right. You know what I'm saying? Listen, God bless the couple who agrees that that's enough to sustain that part of the intimacy building process.
Hmm.
I can't say
To each
anything.
his own.
I can't say anything. You only have one life to fulfill your needs and desires for
Desires for
yourself.
yourself.
Indeed.
Mm.
Indeed. Katila said the objective sex list is
It's
not
not
a
a measure
measure of
of
enough.
enough.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you mean?
What is it a measure of? Just out of curiosity. And
I don't know what that means.
I'm not disagreeing. So basically, that's not like what's not enough can't be the quantifier for
Okay.
whether your marriage is sexless or not. And listen, I kind of agree with you, but what is it a measure of?
Mm.
Because again, right? Here's how I'm thinking. I'm thinking that generally, and again, this is a generalization because obviously everybody doesn't fit under this category. Generally, people who are not having sex in their marriage are having other issues that put a wall up when it comes to progressing in that area of intimacy. Generally.
Mm.
Now, we're not talking about the folk who are older and the folk who are sick and the folk who we're talking about able-bodied, fresh, in their prime, married folk who are not having sex almost always points to an unhealthy relationship.
In that instance, I agree with you. Yes.
Almost always.
Yeah.
It describes the frequency, but it's not a measure of whether someone is satisfied with the frequency. Now you're taking it somewhere else now. But I agree with you. You're right about that. You're right about that. That's a good point. Because there's people who might be having sex 3 times a week, but it's trash, or they feel like it's trash.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting satisfied. The release, the things that happen psychologically, the things that happen physically, happen emotionally. The bond isn't even being created there for one reason or another. So yes, I agree with that. Maybe that person has other hobbies. Nah.
So you're saying other hobbies cannot satisfy or replace actual sexual intimacy? I agree with that because nothing feels like that.
And I'm not, and hear me, Anthony, I'm not shooting down your comment. I hear you. I'm just saying, for me, you ain't gonna tell me that gardening is gonna replace sex. That ain't gonna never happen. I can promise you that. I can have 1,000 hobbies. They're never gonna replace sex, ever. They're just not. It's not. But I get it. There's, and that speaks to. Here's the thing. That speaks to where people put that priority. That's not a priority. The amount a couple has sex is the amount a couple has sex.
The amount of sex a couple has is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's enough or not is a feeling and varies. That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrell said infidelity is probably going on if the marriage is sexless. That's
could be.
That's okay. That could be the case.
That could be.
It's a possibility. It's not always the case, but it is a possibility. It definitely, without a doubt. Especially if here's a red flag. Here's a red flag. Especially if there is no indication of disinterest in sex.
Yeah.
That's a red flag. So if there's no indication of disinterest in sex and you still ain't having sex, they're getting it somewhere else.
Yeah.
They're getting it somewhere else.
I agree.
So tuck that in your back pocket. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. Anthony said, "No, you're right." Hey, I know that's right, bro. I can play all the basketball in the world. That ain't gonna suffice. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I can have all the hobbies in the world that I want, and they ain't gonna replace none of that. That's not at all. At least not for me. That's just me. That's just me. They're getting it somewhere else. Yeah, that's a red flag. I'm telling you, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Lots of it mentally and physically. Yep. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. We just, we were talking about this Brigham Young thing, and that's where it kind of started with the Brigham Young article that was just talking about premarital sex, and that's a whole nother topic, really. Um, but here's my belief. I believe that sexual intimacy is a vital part of the intimacy building experience, right? So I'm going to give you an example that is really pushing the envelope. Like,
Oh boy.
no, not in that way, not in that way, but pushing the envelope in like, okay, yeah, those aren't the same thing. Like you can't compare those two. But here's my thought. Just hear me out. Here's my thought process, right? It's like me building a house and saying, you know what, don't worry about it. You don't got to put a bathroom in there. We'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Yeah, you could do that, but is your house complete? Does it drag down the quality of life?
Yeah.
That you're living in that home?
Right.
Like, yeah, you could do that. You can. But do you want to? Like, do you want to? And so that's how it is for me. I feel like it is a part of the intimacy building process. Now, is it the end all be all? No.
Yeah.
Some people hinge their entire relationship on sex. And if you hinge your entire relationship on sex, that's like saying, just build me a bathroom and I'm going to live in there, which is just as ridiculous. Right. So that's kind of where we were tonight. Hopefully that gives you and yours, wherever you are, something to talk about. Conversation starter. Is it really that important? The answer, if you ask me the question, I'm gonna say yes, it is.
Of course it is.
I'm gonna say yes, it is. But you have to determine that again for yourself. I love y'all too. Best channel to watch for couples who are trying to figure it out. Singles too. Man, appreciate you, Anthony. Man, that means a lot. Much. That means a lot, bro. Thank you for that. Blessings on you. We received that, man. That's dope. Thank you so much. All right, listen, we're gonna get out of here. Happy Saturday night to you. Listen, to all the mothers, any mothers who may be watching, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And listen, a phenomenal way for those of you mothers who are married to enjoy it is to wake your husband up in the morning and say, hey, daddy, I got something for you.
So wait a minute. Hold on.
Okay.
It's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day. All right. So for the husbands that are watching, a great Mother's Day gift to give to your wife, who is a mother, is to wake them up and say, Mama, I got something for you.
Because I'm going to say, wait a minute. How did this turn around to you?
Yeah, I messed that up, didn't
I? Oh my goodness.
I messed that one up. Okay. Good night, Judith. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Katila, happy Mother's Day to you as well.
Day. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day. That's awesome. That is awesome.
He is so far off. So far off.
That's great. Oh I love it. John Carter is in the house. What's up? Thank you, Anthony. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Cook her some southern food.
Hey, I like
that's what we're talking about.
I like that.
That's what we're talking about. I almost gave away where we're eating tomorrow because I was about to say what kind of food we're eating. Man,
so we're going somewhere that has southern food.
It almost slipped out. It's not southern food, but it almost slipped out what it is. But all right, here we go. We're gonna get out of here. Listen, man, we are grateful for you guys. Listen, I do this. I have to.
Thank you, Ms. Terrell.
Yes, thank you so much. Good night, guys. I have to do this before you go. If you know of a couple who is looking to communicate on an extraordinary level, who is looking to recognize, manage, and recover from conflict
in record time,
and you know a couple who is looking to build a holistic, intimate bond. Starting June 4th, we are doing the Make Love Better, a 6-week group coaching cohort. If you go to our website, which is Denoli, DENOLI.org/Make Love Better, you can learn about that opportunity. The last cohort was
phenomenal.
Outstanding.
It was great.
It was outstanding.
It's always a good time.
So if you want some more information about that, you just click some links around our bios, and you'll be able to find that information. It starts on June the 4th. We got a couple spots left because we're keeping it really small.
Mhm.
If you want to be a part of that, or you know a couple who can benefit from being a part of that,
Yeah.
send them
Send them our
our
way.
way. All right. Blessings on you all. Listen, man, we love these conversations. We will
Yeah.
be pray for us. We're gonna try to get consistent in having these more often, and some other stuff that's coming in the works, right? So we
Mhm.
have our other show that we're going to be doing a new season of called Inside the Relationship. Inside the Relationship is a YouTube show as well, and we're going to be starting that back up. If you don't know anything about this, go to our YouTube channel and check out season 1. There were some great shows. All right,
Mhm.
so go check that out. Get a good laugh, talk about some relationship stuff, get some tips, and then be prepared for when season 2 starts. All right, we out of here, fam.
Good night, everyone. Happy Mother's Day again.
Blessings on you. All right, let's go.